Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to your Backup Plan Tribe. How's everybody doing today? My name is Tina Ginn. I'm with your Talking Taboo with Tina over at your Backup Plan. Our team always puts together these wonderful guests for us. I can't imagine you not enjoying this next show. From cancer survivor to end-of-life doula, navigating the journey of caregiving. So very, very true. Now, we've had on other guests on our show before, which are going through this cancer journey as well. But this one had a bit of a different spin on it because I wanted to speak to Janice Lombardo, coming to us from Ohio today, about the caregiving aspect. There's just not enough that we talk about caregiving. And especially to our parents, especially to the older friends and neighbors that we have sometimes to deal with. But it will be a great look at a picture for you guys of things not to do, things to avoid doing, and things that Janice can put some light on. And I'm really looking forward to seeing her talk about these things today with you guys. And I don't know what else to say about that. It's going to be a great show today, and that I'm amazed that you guys are here with me. I'm excited that we're talking about these things, and that, I have a mission to help families and individuals face life's curveballs head on. And of course, with your backup plan over with our team that we have, our purpose is quite crystal clear. We're here to empower you in the face of life's unpredictability. And so true, because you don't know the moments when life throws you curveballs, your brain disappears. It just literally, I sometimes felt like it was floating in the air and I'm grabbing at it, trying to get my brain back. When there's a shock, when there's a particular instance of trauma, whether you had a knock at the door, or you see a tornado coming down your road, or a hurricane or a flood. And when things happen in that instance, you go into shock mode. And sometimes your shock mode doesn't come back. Your brain does not come back until a very long time after, and it makes your life so difficult to maneuver through. I guess our body does that on purpose, but hey, I yelled at my brain quite a few times saying, where the heck are you? I need you now. Because it's tough. If you don't have your life organized in some sort of manner that we teach you to do, it is tough. It's tough emotionally, physically, financially, and spiritually. So that being said, let's get on our party with our podcast today in a short commercial, and we'll be right back.
In the blink of an eye, life can change dramatically. On our podcast, Talking Taboo with Tina, we delve into these life-altering events with celebrities, authors, and everyday people just like you. You'll also discover your Backup Plan app, a life-organizing tool designed to prepare you for any unexpected circumstance. It's your safety net, taking the sting out of tragedy. Imagine a plan B that ensures your finances are safe, even in the worst-case scenario. But it doesn't end there. Join our vibrant Facebook group for free webinars on backup planning and secure your future today.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm so happy to have you. So we're going to bring on Janice Lombardo, coming to us from Ohio. Janice is a mom, a thyroid cancer survivor, an author. She is in that sandwich generation where she got pushed to be a primary caregiver, which so many of us do. She is a end-of-life doula. Did I get it all, Janice?
You did get it all so far. Thank you so much, Tina.
You're very welcome.
Hello, everyone. So happy to be here and have this discussion because we need to have more of them. Okay.
We sure do. We sure do. When you're put in it, don't you just where is the information?
And that's where it gets really tricky. It's that swim or sink feeling. And like you said, Tina, life can change in the blink of an eye. And when you're not prepared, it is chaos and overwhelm and really
Sadness,
unnecessary.
all sorts of things.
It absolutely is an unnecessary place to be.
It is.
So, yes.
Where did it all start for you, Janice? Where did it really start?
Well, my journey has been started over 31 years ago, right after the birth of my son. I had a rough birth with him. I got home after being in the hospital for a week. And within a couple of weeks, woke up in the middle of the night with a stabbing pain in my neck. And it actually woke me up out of a sound sleep, and I could feel a little tiny pea-sized lump. And at that point in time,
down further?
Right here.
Oh, right
where my thyroid is. So it was like right on the edge of my thyroid. Only at that point in time, I had no idea what that was.
Mm-hmm.
And I had just given birth. It's my first baby. And so when I went for my 6-week checkup with my OB and I explained to him what happened, his response was, well, of course your hormones are out of whack. You just had a baby. You're fine. Go home and enjoy your baby. Not, oh yeah, I can feel the lump. Not, you didn't even touch me. Okay. So I'm a young 30-year-old mom, don't have a clue. Go home, enjoy my son, and all the other things that come along with being a new mom. And, just
you're focused on them, really. It's not.
Well, of course, and healing, because I had to have an emergency C-section. So that was a very long healing process for me because it was not planned. And, you do the best you can with what you have.
Yeah.
So, so we're moving towards the years. The lump is starting to get a little bigger. I'm asking every doctor I see, general practitioners or whomever, what's this lump on my neck? They took blood, told me my thyroid levels are fine. You just need to stop eating so much and lose weight. Thank you so much. By 1997, I have my daughter. So this lump was on my neck while I was pregnant with her. And I hoped for the best because nobody was giving me any answers. Didn't really even explain what is a thyroid. And I now know that it's a very important organ, especially if it's going to regulate what's going on in your body and it's not working properly, then, things don't go too well. And so right after she was born, my hormones were really kind of raging, I guess, because the lump doubled in size within 2 years. So by year 8, it was December of 1999, and I went to my dermatologist for an unrelated issue, and he had taken blood to check hormone levels and whatnot, and he said, your thyroid levels are really off, and I'm sending you to an endocrinologist. But by this time, my thyroid had gotten so large that I was having trouble breathing and swallowing.
No
I
way.
was being told there was nothing wrong with me.
Holy cow. And over a time span of how long?
8 years.
8 years.
8 years. 8 years. And I can only do what I can do. I was not a medical professional, and I trusted the medical professionals that I dealt with. And I know that a lot of the folks that are out there listening to this are shaking their heads going, oh yeah. And so.
But it can happen anywhere, literally.
It absolutely
can. It's not just your area. It's not just,
No, it can happen.
In Canada, it's everywhere.
Anywhere in the world. But at that point in time, before the year 2000, we didn't have the internet like we have now. We didn't have the ability to do the research without being in a medical field to find answers or to find help when you've exhausted all of your local options and you don't know where else to turn.
Yeah.
So At that point, the dermatologist had set up an appointment with an endocrinologist before I even left the office. And a week later, I'm sitting in in the endocrinologist's office, and he's feeling my neck. And he makes this guttural sound that sent my heart into my feet. I knew something was terribly wrong, but I didn't know really exactly what was going on. And then he told me to come back in 3 months, because he said, if the lump is still there, we'll biopsy it then. 3 months was St. Patrick's Day. That's when I had my biopsy done. And within a week, I got the results.
Like next week.
Yeah. So April 11th is my 24th anniversary as a survivor. So then after we went and did the biopsy and I got the results, it was a whirlwind of activity of hurry up and get this taken care of, because we should have done this before, but now it's not a wait and hurry up. It's a do it now.
Do it.
And so I went and saw a surgeon, and he was the same age as me at that point in time. And he had 5 kids and I had my 2 kids. And because I knew something was very wrong, the way that I dealt with it was I compartmentalized everything. So when I needed to be present and have my brain work, I was right on the spot. I had questions written down. I was grilling the surgeon. And as we were talking, he stopped me and he said, I am really worried about you. And I said, I don't understand why. He said, because I can read your handwriting. He didn't think that I was taking what was happening seriously, because they were talking about chemotherapy. They were talking about other protocols. And at that point in time, I was only told that it was a stage 3+ cancer, and that they wouldn't know for sure until they did the surgery to remove my entire thyroid. So I had a complete thyroidectomy on April 11th. And then the endocrinologist came and visited me in the hospital, because they kept me overnight. And he was just chattering on about how he was so happy for me that I was going to be fine, and that they got it all, and it hadn't metastasized, even though it was a stage 4 cancer. And I guess with a thyroid cancer, there's an A, B, and a C. A does not metastasize, but it can grow to like a baseball. But B and C, when they metastasize, then you're really in trouble. So I was very fortunate that it did not.
It wasn't one of the other ones.
It was not, but thank goodness I'm still here to be able to talk about it.
That's
And
for sure.
so when I asked him, I said, you knew I had cancer when I saw you in December, didn't you? And he said, absolutely, I knew. And I said, why didn't you tell me? And his response was, I also knew that you had a 2-year-old and an 8-year-old at home. And if this was going to be your last Christmas with them, that's not the only thing I wanted them to remember you by. Now, what's wrong with that picture? What's wrong with that picture is that there was a doctor who withheld information from me that he should never have done. It was not his place to decide that for me.
Yeah.
Or my circumstance, but I'm sure that it has happened in the past, and I'm sure it's still happening now. It needs to stop because we have the right to know. This is our body, and it should be our choice.
Yes.
But I also know that there are individuals out there, because I have run into them, who don't want to know. They don't want to know that there is a life-threatening situation happening with them. They don't want to know anything other than I will show up for these appointments and you will do this for me, and then I will go home. And they just do not want to be involved in anything other than that. And I'm sad for them.
Yeah, I don't understand it,
but I respect where they're at. And
yeah.
I've lost a number of folks in that kind of situation. Before I became an end-of-life doula, I knew people. So moving forward, I'm fine. I have my thyroidectomy. They give me irradiated iodine and they mess me up that way, but I'm still alive. I still have all my teeth. My salivary glands were attacked and I almost lost those, but I didn't. So,
Oh, good.
everything worked out in the end, and hindsight is 2020 and whatever, but I'm here today. I'm fine. I'm doing very well, and I survived this because I was supposed to do what I'm doing now.
Yes, I believe that.
So in 2003, my mom got up. May 12th was her 68th birthday, and there was a huge lump behind her left ear,
Oh,
And so we ended up going to her general practitioner, whose eyes almost fell out of her head. And then we had to have a biopsy done, and it was non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, stage 2 small B cell. So her cancer journey started from May 12th, and it ended on May 15th of 2011. So her 68th birthday was May 12th. She made it just past her 68th birthday in 2011. And she was born on Mother's Day, and she passed on Mother's Day.
that's
Which,
crazy.
yeah, which I really didn't know it was Mother's Day the day that she passed, because I didn't have any clue. I was just focused
So
on
much
her.
going on.
Yeah. So after caring for her, being her primary caregiver, along with my father, being her medical advocate, everyone was always asking me, "Are you a nurse?" Because I was taking copious notes. I asked questions, did not let anyone disrespect her, made sure that I was her advocate, and celebrated her wins and cried with her for losses. So, her caregiving journey is not for the faint of heart. It is a lot of work. It is something that
In so many ways.
we need the support of others. It takes a village to raise a child. It also takes a village to care for a sick loved one, whether they're an adult or a child. People don't really seem to grasp that, because they
No.
think that you're going to be able to just take care of it yourself and everything's fine. Well, you got to eat and sleep and take care of yourself. And if you have small children at that point, I did. My 2 children were school aged at that point. So I'm raising my children, running a household, taking care of my mom, and trying to just not have too many things fall through the cracks.
Yeah.
And it's almost impossible if you don't have a little bit of help on the side.
So true. I found what probably the hardest part, whether you're working, not working, whatever, it doesn't matter. The hardest part are the doctor's appointments and follow-ups, and helping them to understand what's going on, as well as what their needs are. And then having my dad not drive, that was another issue.
Mm-hmm.
And you're reaching out to, ministry, or you're reaching out to whoever will listen to what to do, because you can see your dad getting in the car and driving down the street. Are you supposed to hide the keys? Are you supposed to, what are you supposed to do? If they don't listen to you, what do you do? It's worse than a kid, Well, at least you can yell at them, and then, they might not like you, but you've accomplished them not going somewhere, hopefully. But
yeah, it's a really fine line. And I know that there have been some people that I've watched, their parents give up their keys, and it took an act of God to get it done, or an act of Congress, because there's a lot of doctors now who refuse to get involved with that. And I know that here in Ohio, there is a few groups that have started to create programs to test elders' abilities during simulations to find out whether or not they are still okay to drive. Because if you get a doctor's note that says that you can still drive, if you go down to the DMV, the Department of Motor Vehicles, and you pass the test, you can still drive. It
Yeah.
doesn't mean that it should happen all the time, because you might have just been having a good day, or you're really not going to give that up. So you're going to be really on the ball, and every day is a new adventure. Every day is
It
a new
is.
level.
I
So
always wondered, like the funny thing is, like when you said that, is when I tried to tell my dad that he couldn't drive right now because I had to remind him like a child every day, maybe 2 or 3 times a day, that he wasn't able to drive until his blood sugar got better.
Mm-hmm.
Because the doctor had that, like, she didn't take his license away. She just said he shouldn't drive. Well,
Thanks.
that's not a whole lot of help.
No, it isn't, because it's still making you the bad guy, and it's giving you the responsibility to make sure that they don't drive. But
Yeah.
unfortunately, and I am not saying this disrespectfully, they're like adult toddlers.
Yeah.
Okay. They have the wisdom and the age and the abilities, but they're not what they used to be. And
No.
I have a hard time accepting things that have changed in my life and not being able to do as much as I used to. And I know you were probably like me, where it was go, 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 and burn that candle at both ends and sleep. What's that? And, eating right and doing all the things that go along with having any kind of self-care.
Yeah.
They go by the wayside when you are in the thick of caregiving for an adult. And when you're the adult child, that dynamic, that relationship does not always lend you the ability to get done what you want, because they know how to push your buttons and you know how to push theirs. And they look at you like you're being disrespectful, and how dare you do this to me? And the guilt is a man-made emotion. We need to get through that and not let that be a deterrent. Get rid of the emotions. When you are going by emotions, you are not going to make sound decisions. It has to be based on fact. And one of the hardest things to do when you are sitting in front of your loved one and trying not to have those emotions, you have got to close that off, because you will not get anywhere. And then that's when accidents happen. That's when things that could be life-threatening can happen. So, being respectful is one thing, being safe is another. And you are taking on that role. If you are a power of attorney for their medical and or financial, you are taking on that role of responsibility, which means you have to make sound decisions. They cannot be swayed by anyone or anything. You're the one that's on the hook for that. If you want to have siblings or other family members be part of decision making, that's something that really needs to be addressed right from the very beginning, because you don't want to have someone come in who's out of town and they just happen to talk to your loved one and they heard this, this, and this, and how dare you, you're a terrible daughter, you're a terrible this, blah, blah, blah. You know what? Come and sit in my shoes for 24 hours. I will bet you will not last 12. Okay?
Yes.
And so unless you walk in the shoes, you do not know. And so having that strength, you got to put that armor on, and you have got to do what is in the best interest of your loved one, because you are the one living this every single day. No one else can tell you what is to be or what not to be. They can offer an opinion, let that roll. Let it roll off your back, because if you don't, it just makes it so much harder for you, and then it will trickle down to your loved one.
Well, and I find it funny because at least with a younger child, they don't have the smarts yet to perhaps lie like an adult can, or not answer. They know all the tricks of the trade.
Yep. Oh yeah.
So I found that difficult because you're looking at your parent now as, no, that's a lie. Like you're seeing them in a whole other light. It's not that person that you knew them as before. And each day, some days are better and some days are worse. And it's like a game with your mind constantly, because you say it's black and she'll say it's white, and they'll say, oh, well, what are you talking about? I can't drive. I have my keys. Like it's like a game with your mind, and it's either you don't know, are they so smart that they know how to get around your question and lie, or are they trying to make up for what they know that they don't have to know? So they're lying. Like I don't get where their personality changes, but
I equate that aspect of misinformation and, like you said, it's lies, to self-preservation. You know that an animal in the wild, in order to survive, will never let anything see that they are injured or incapacitated, because that would be the end of their life. I equate those reactions of our elderly loved ones at times to that situation. They're not going to go quietly into the night. They're just not going to do it. And I don't blame them. But when you're in the situation where you are just trying to help keep them safe, you want them to eat, you want them to rest, you want them to bathe and brush their teeth and do toileting. You want all of those, right? Because there are a lot of folks out there who are adverse to taking prescriptions or getting vaccinations or having treatments. And at a certain point, depending on the situation, you have every right to refuse anything that you do not feel is medically sound for you. That's where our body autonomy comes in, and we are the ones that rightfully make those decisions. But when you're either going through a cognitive change because you're not taking care of yourself, so things have shifted and your perspective is off and it's fight or flight, those are really, really hard situations to deal with. And oftentimes some type of social worker or another medical professional needs to step in and say, okay, look, or another family member that they really like more than you. Fine, you like them more than me? I don't care. At this point, if it gets you to do what I need you to do, let's get them in here.
I felt the exact same way. And I actually said, I looked at my parents at one point and I said, do I need to call the slipper pillow guy on TV and have him come and tell you what you need to do? Do I need to do that? Because I will, if I have to. If that's the only person that you think you trust and you will listen to, I will do that.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, that is God speaking to them. A stranger that they don't even know. I don't even comprehend it.
We haven't walked in those shoes yet, so we really can't appreciate that. But we are from the outside looking in, and it's very frustrating and it's exhausting.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand that all too well. Like I said, I've worked with a number of folks who have kind of been in that situation.
Did they like the pillow guy too?
No. They didn't really like the pillow guy. But mom was not as unwilling to, do what was necessary. And as long as I was walking with her, she was okay.
With her doing it? Yeah.
Yeah. As long as I was right there.
It's the ones that make it harder on you to do things.
Yeah, it's the ones who are fighting for their independence, and they will use any and every means necessary. They will verbally assault you, they will verbally degrade you, dismiss you, do whatever it takes
Hit
to
you.
get you to stop. And if that is the case, that's when you need outside reinforcements. Because if there's a situation happening where it is not safe and you really can't go anywhere else to, get that backup that you need,
Yeah.
that's what you have to do. You have to make the tough calls, and do not feel guilty about them. You are not doing it to be spiteful. You are not doing it to be harmful. You are doing it out of love. And that's one of the biggest things with caregiving. We all go through frustrating times. We all go through exhaustion. It's so hard to make decisions when you can't see straight because you're just so overwhelmed.
It is. It's very
When
overwhelming.
the last couple of weeks of my mom's journey, my brother came into town, and he was very concerned for me. He said, "I've never seen you blink independently." So each eye was blinking because I was just so overwhelmed and so exhausted.
Your brain was like,
My brain was going, what the heck's going on here? So, you are not alone. And this is one of the things and one of the reasons why when I found out in 2020, during the pandemic, that I could become an end-of-life doula, I was like, okay, I'm excited about this. And this is something that is so necessary. If I had had a resource, an individual that I could talk to and share what I was feeling and dealing with, and they had people that I could call to get help, oh my gosh, it would have been a game changer.
Or
It
even
really
just to
would
talk
have.
to you once a month even.
Anything that helps to back you up, because I felt so many times like I was just twisting in the wind. I was on a huge flagpole twisting, and every new issue that resurfaced or surfaced, I was just a mess. And then on top of it, because my mom and I never, ever, ever had any of the end-of-life discussions, I didn't know anything about what her final wishes were. I did not know that she wanted to die at home.
Do you know how many people are probably out there listening to this thinking the same thing?
Yes. I mean, they say the polls that ARP has done and things like that 80% of people prefer to, if they can, die at home, and less than 20% do. That's just a real life statistic. Because she took a real quick turn for the worse on Easter Sunday in 2011, I drove them to the emergency room. The doctor said, "I'm really concerned for you because you're very, very sick." And she was admitted to the hospital within the week. We were told there was nothing more medically that they could do for her. And I was the only one in the room when the doctor came in and told us that. And that was absolutely heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And so I know so many people that have dealt with this. It is not something that I would wish on my worst enemy.
No.
And then that day, a couple hours after we were given that news, her oncologist came to me and pulled me out of the room. And he said, "You have 24 hours to find a place for her to go because she will not be in the hospital right now anymore." And I was like, "I'm sorry, what?" And he said, "You have 24 hours to find a place to bring her." And I said, "What if I need more than 24 hours? "Oh, you work with the social workers. It'll be fine. You'll just find some place."
Like it's that easy.
Oh my gosh. And it took, and I looked at him and I said, "You know what? She will stay here as long as she needs to until I figure out where she needs to go. But you don't get to dictate to me that I have 24 hours to bring my mother someplace where she will die. You don't get to do that. And how dare you think that that's okay?"
Do you know what they're caught doing here?
I can't even imagine.
They have been caught putting people when it's time for them to go. And if they can't reach anybody, they put them out onto the bus stop bench.
Oh no.
Out, like at the front or wherever the closest one is. That's what they bring them to.
Whew. Wow.
That's what people are saying. Wow. Like you don't have a system or a process when it's time to release the person and make sure that they're going somewhere safe.
Yeah, that's inhumane. We treat animals better than that. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. It's crazy, but I guess it's happening in all sorts of places. It's so if
That's
you're not
just
on the
frightening.
ball, yeah. Because they
Mm.
want the bed for somebody else or whatever it might be. I don't know.
Oh, that's heartbreaking.
Can you imagine, you're finding your mom on the bus stop? Yeah,
No.
it's not good enough for the health system, but it is what it is, right? It's,
It's wrong, is what it is.
yeah. What have you found dealing with the end-of-life doula part of your work now? What have you found funny stories or interesting stories of people, families fighting and
Okay. Well, like any family, there are quite a number of personalities. You obviously
tell us more.
you obviously have, the mother and father, you have the children, siblings, possibly aunts and uncles, maybe grandparents, depending on the age. Um, what I have found is that either the family pulls together, they set up a care plan schedule. This one's here 3 nights a week. This one comes by every morning. I mean, it's, I've, I'm just in awe of some of these folks. They are like a well-oiled machine, and they had never done anything like this. They just pulled together, pulled their bootstraps up, and went and made sure that their loved ones were taken care of. The other side of that coin is that you have multiple siblings, maybe aunts and uncles or whatnot, and they disappear. So either you have pull together or implode.
Why do you
Pardon
think
me?
why do you think they disappear?
There's a number of reasons. They have their own families that they want to focus on. They don't know what to do and they don't want to put time in to learn. They have conflicting opinions about how things should be handled. Any other reason that you can think of that would not be cohesive and have, everybody get along and work together.
On that same
Right. Well, I'm the oldest of 4, and because of our family dynamics, we were on the imploding side. So I've looked back at, is there something that I did? Because I'm one of those people who, okay, we have a problem, let's find a solution, and I'm waiting for you to do something and you're sitting there not doing anything, so I'm just going to take over. When you're trying to reach out and get cooperation from another individual, whether they're family or not, and most of the times the family is where you start. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. I also know that there are a lot of individuals who don't have family.
Well, not only that, but it also happens when people are just sick or disabled in some shape or form, or in a bad accident, or end up in ICU or whatever. Families are fighting at that time, like who's doing this and who's going to look after that, and just all of this mess seems to turn on family members. It seems like, there's really very few, I'm sure. I don't even think it's 50-50. I'm sure it's less than that can work together and get a resolution to a situation.
Which is a shame.
It is a shame.
But that's one of the reasons why I'm here. That's one of the reasons why you're here.
That's right.
Because we understand what happens in families, and we are here to help so that you don't have to worry about that. I mean, because nobody is alone. We are here to make sure that you have support that you might need.
That's right. Otherwise, I say, do you want to be on the Jerry Springer show? Then there you go. You're good to go.
Have fun with that.
Fine, then. Have fun. Right?
Right. I mean, that's not where I'm at, and I don't need drama, and I avoid drama as much as possible because I know how difficult it can be.
Yes.
I would not wish that on anyone. So, we choose who we have in our lives. Sometimes the people that we choose are better family for us than our own blood relatives.
That's so weird.
That's perfectly okay, because that works so much better.
The neighbor down the street, or the friend that calls you once a week, or
the book club.
Yeah.
Whoever is in your life, whoever you consider a friend and is really truly a friend, will listen to you, will support you, and you do the same for them. And, blood may be thicker than water, but the friends that we choose may be more like family.
Stronger. Yeah.
So absolutely.
You wonder where the family members go to, actually. It's like everybody runs. It's almost like when I was working with insurance and life insurance and disability, and somebody'd say, hey, what do you do? What do you do for a job? And well, I sell insurance. It's like, oh, really? They're gone. Just as fast as you said it, they're gone the other way.
I've had people physically back away from me when I tell them what I do, because the only thing they see is death or dying. And, we do so much more than that. We work with folks before, while they're still healthy, so that they can plan everything. And then there is no surprises. There is no reason to fight.
Yes.
Please, there is no reason to fight.
Have you had to help a fighting situation yet?
Somewhat. I gave my my reasoning for why I felt that they might need to either seek counseling to resolve some of the issues that they were having, or if they were having a problem with just one individual, that they, have a intervention meeting or something along those lines. Right. I can only make suggestions based on what I see.
You see. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I'm not a therapist. I don't pretend to be one, but just as a human being who has grown up in a family and is an adult with a thinking brain and the, will and the drive to problem solve.
Absolutely.
So, being able to give resources is one of the biggest things. And it's often really very helpful. I do know of some other doulas who have had combative family members, not just verbally, but physically. And, police are called and they're pulled apart like Jerry Springer.
I wonder what is it really about? I feel like Chandler on Friends. What is this really about?
Because sometimes it's money.
Is it money? Is it
a lot of
could
times
be just that stupid little cup and saucer on the table? Like it's just craziness how people get crazy.
They get worked up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's one of the other things of planning. If you are, that your grandchild really likes that tea set or really likes that golf club or baseball mitt or, whatever it is, those coins, those stamps, give it to them now. Just, they're sitting in a box, they're sitting in a drawer, they're sitting in a room. Give it to them now so that there is no reason to fight later, because it could impair their care, because people, are going to just kind of run away. And it doesn't have to be that way. And they're just material things. Come on. But the other thing I really need to say about being a financial power of attorney, because this has been coming up a lot with some of the clients that I've worked with, they have a family member who is responsible financially, and they are not using those funds for the care of their loved one. They are hoarding it. They are keeping it, so that their inheritance is there. I'm sorry, that money is not yours. That money is for the care of your loved one, and how dare you try to keep it from them. I've watched too many elderly individuals in nursing facilities who were doing really well. Their loved one took all their funds, put them on Medicaid, and then within 6 months they were gone.
Yeah.
I can't even tell you how many times I've seen this, and it angers me every single time.
Yeah. Yeah, me too.
I can't really
That and
say
wishes.
it.
Like
No.
you wanted, what you're not, it was on Abishola just this week, actually.
Okay.
Where the mother of Dot, what's the sock company on TV show?
Mm-hmm.
The mom, the dad had passed away, and she still had the urn sitting there on the counter. And Bob says to his mom, Dad wanted you to sprinkle the ashes here and here and here.
Mm-hmm.
You're not supposed to keep them. He didn't want that. Yeah, well, it's my choice. I'm here and he isn't, so I get to choose. So there's one too. It's like you're not doing what you talked about, wishes, but now you're not doing them. So what I try to do in webinars is having a family book a webinar with your backup plan. And that way they have coffee, tea, sometimes drinks and appies. And then everybody gets the same questionnaire. And we make it like a Monopoly game where we go around the table and ask everybody the same question. We're not isolating mom and dad or anyone in particular, but we're asking everybody, because everybody has their own wishes and everybody has their own feelings. And so then all of a sudden everybody gets to hear, and it becomes funny, it becomes fun instead of making it like income tax time or something like that.
Well, we all I grew up where death was a taboo topic.
Yes.
You are not taught about it within your
school system,
religious, affiliations. You are not taught about it in school. You are not taught about it in your homes. We never talked about it, and we are now realizing after all these years, it's so important. And it is not going to create your passing any earlier.
No.
If anything, it's going to help you and your loved ones get more familiar and used to the idea. It's not going to happen today. It's not going to happen tomorrow. It could happen in 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But when you have nothing in place and you have not had these discussions like I didn't have with my own mother,
because it makes you feel bad too, right?
It rips your heart out.
Yeah.
It rips your heart out. Because when I was taking care of her, my primary focus was keeping her alive. That was the only thing I thought about, cared about, knew about, whatever.
Yeah. As a mom, especially.
especially because I'm the first daughter. And so we were very, very close. And I can't even begin to tell you how many years it took me to be able to look at a picture of her after she passed,
Yeah.
or to be able to talk about her without bursting into tears. It took
Well, you've
me
come a long way.
a long, long time. Well, the reason I'm doing what I'm doing is to pay honor to her. By honoring her and helping others is really, really been beneficial to everyone, because people that I work with are so relieved that I'm willing to listen, and that I'm willing to let them, talk about the things that are really on their minds. Some of the questions I can't answer,
Yeah.
but I'm willing to sit and give you that space and to let you talk about it so that you can process it as you need to and in your time.
Right.
It's just like grief and grieving. You're not going to get through it in a day, a week, a month. It could take years. And during that period of time, there are going to be things that are going to come up and trigger you. And if you have been, explained to, these things are going to happen. Give yourself that love and kindness. Be kind to yourself. Work through those feelings. Feel them. If you got to cry the ugly cry, do it.
Yeah.
And do not feel bad about it. You have to do what is important for you, because otherwise you're going to be rocking in a corner and not being
You
able
have
to
to deal
function.
with it at some point in time anyway. So
Right. And if you keep stuffing it down, when it does finally show up, it's going to be a doozy,
yeah.
and nobody's going to know how to handle it or take care of you. And you're not going to know either. So
No, you won't be
it
good
is
for anything.
really, it is really so important to
Yeah.
listen to your body and to your thoughts, and and find your tribe, find the folks who love you enough to let you be you. And it's hard to find.
And
It
listen.
really is.
Find
Yeah,
someone to
it's
listen.
painful. It's so painful sometimes. I've cried with some of my clients.
Yeah.
We're
You
human.
feel it. Yeah.
Yeah,
You feel it.
absolutely. And there is
I was
really
doing that. I'd be crying every day.
surprisingly no, but yeah.
And before we forget, don't forget Janice's information is down below in the description box. Just click on the button that says more, and you'll get all of the description below that. And you can click on her link. She has her email there. She has a website, and she has her book on her website as well. Did I forget anything?
I don't think so. I think you've
No?
got it all. Thank you, Tina.
Okay, you're welcome. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our show so that you don't miss one that's coming up as well. Janice, I can't believe the time. It feels like we just got started in our conversation. There's so much to say about it. I probably will have to have you come back on and talk about some stories, because I think those are the stories that relate to people. This is what I've gone through with this group, and this is this family, and that's what happened there. And I think that would be really cool to see the background to the people, the stories to that, because I think it's real life, and we don't know what's going on at hospice, and we don't know unless we're actually there.
Right.
And we don't see what can happen. I don't think my parents could see what would happen. I told them, but they didn't see it, or they didn't want to see it, or whatever. I don't really get it, but I got sick of saying it. And there's only so much you can say, whether it's to take that darn pill that they haven't taken, and they're so deterrent on doing that. It's like a bad teenager, because they are smart enough not, how to get around it. So that makes it more challenging. I felt like I was at teacher in a kindergarten class or something. Very frustrating. It's a road that you really have to give it some thought whether or not you're open enough to do it and give yourself some kindness, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
It's a hard job, really hard.
And oftentimes thankless.
Yes.
And,
Very
you know,
thankless.
and you will be blamed for things that you have nothing to do with.
Yeah.
You can, you know, just keep that love flowing. I know there's going to be times where it's going to be like, are you kidding me? They just soiled everything and they're, throwing stuff and they're yelling at me and swearing at me.
Or a family member is, or whatever.
Right. Well, for your loved one, that's where the doctors come in, and phone calls to your doctors. If they're having cognitive issues, if they have mild dementia or moderate dementia, contacting their doctors to say, look, this is what's going on. I can't wait. I need help now.
Yeah.
If they have dementia and have been diagnosed with that and or Alzheimer's, here in the States, the local Alzheimer's associations within your city do actually provide up to 8 hours of respite care for the caregiver. You just have to contact them. They have grants and things that they have. And it's always good to know that you have, time for resources, just like some end-of-life doulas also provide respite care depending on the situation. And just so everyone understands, an end-of-life doula, we do not all do the same things.
Okay, that's perfect.
There's an umbrella of different things. My own preferences are to work with the adult child caregiver because I was one. I was the sandwich generation mom. I know all about how juggling, working outside the home. I became a substitute teacher so that I would have at least something outside of the house, so that the days that I didn't have 3 and 4 doctor's appointments for my mom or whatnot, I went and I worked. It was part-time, but it was something.
Yeah.
But, there are some who are grief support or bereavement support individuals. There are some who only do nothing more than vigil with you while your loved one is passing. There are end-of-life doulas who provide you with resources. They will, be your sounding board or whatnot. There's a whole list of different things that can go on. And not, like I said, not every end-of-life doula offers every service. It just depends on where our own strengths lie and what we can do to support families and loved ones, before, during, or after the process.
Oh, that helps. I'm sure people understand better to
Yeah.
what degree that, that it's not just this one little window.
It's a huge umbrella. Absolutely huge.
Yeah. Yeah. And you do some and not all, but probably
Correct.
More of some particular sections.
And if you're working with hospice, they are usually limited in the amount of time that they can spend with you.
Yes.
An end-of-life doula can give you that extra time so that you aren't alone. Because of the way that the pandemic gave everybody the opportunities to do things online, we can do things over Zoom. If you're in a situation where you don't need someone to physically be there, but you just need, your handheld, or you just need to know that you did the very best that you could today, the sounding board, the, support in that way. That's one of the other things that I do, is that I provide that kind of support and love to you so that you don't feel like, you're a terrible person or you didn't, you're not alone in that way.
Yeah.
And that's one of the
perfect.
other good things about doing this work as well. Like I said, when I was going through it, if I had just had someone that I could have talked to for 20 minutes, a half an hour and said, okay, this is what's going on. And just to have that reassurance that you did a good job today.
that
You
you're
are
doing
doing
what you're, yeah, that you feel like you did or achieved or accomplished. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Because we don't have enough of that support.
Yeah.
So
No, that's very well said. Thank you. I
thank
think
you.
that will help people understand better of
It's
all
really
the
important.
things that you do. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, thank you so much. I can't believe that the time is gone, Janice. Where did it go exactly? I'm not sure.
Well,
But
between the two of us.
we've been through the ringer a few times, I think, and
Yeah.
it's I've been on it a client side, and then I've been on it a family side, so I've kind of gotten both angles.
And I'm from the
Like
patient and
you.
the family. Yeah.
Yeah,
So I
yeah,
understand you.
yeah, absolutely. We found backstage, everybody, we found out we had so much in common. we, we really did. I'm so happy to have had you on, Janice, to help others today on our show. Thank you so much for coming out. Thank you so very much.
And thank you for having me. And I hope that anyone who's listening out there, if you need some help, you know where to find me. And
Yes.
Tina, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate you.
Oh, and I appreciate you and your story, and we'll get her to come on and talk about more stories. I'm sure
I
she'll
would
have
love
some.
that. We need to have more stories.
We do, so that those poor caregivers out there have something to watch to realize that they're not all by themselves.
That's right.
So thank you. And thank you everybody for coming out to our show today. I hate to end it, but hey, you guys always say an hour's enough, Tina. So I listened and I said, okay, I promise I'll have them come on and do part 2. How's that? But thank you, everybody. You know, life comes at us sometimes on curveballs, and we have to know how to get around these curveballs. And sometimes it takes us to learn about what is not necessarily the right way, but what our options are. And that's what we're here for. We have webinars, we have an app, and we have lots of stuff coming down the stream, ebooks and courses that you can do that can help you understand anything from an insurance policy to a travel policy of medical that you buy for yourself. So anyways, that being said, I'm so happy to be here with you guys today to bring you another great guest and talk about topics that we should be talking about more often. We really should be. That's why I guess Talking Taboo, we talk about taboo subjects like this all the time. And I'd like to bring you some more next week, and I'm sure we will. We have a whole lineup of more guests coming to us. I think I'm booked up until June now, but that we always have a spot for somebody who has a great story. And I think people out there need to resonate with what's happening in our worlds today because we feel so alone when we're in it. And I want to help bring that cycle come around and say, no, we're here for you. We are here for all of you. So thank you, everybody. Stay safe and be kind. Janice and I are here for you if you need us. In the description box down below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. If you know somebody that's caregiving for someone, please share this story with them. I'm sure it will help, and I'm sure that they've resonated with more than, I can promise you, they have resonated with more than one thing that we've talked about today. If they have been caregiving, they know what it's like.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. So thank you, everybody. Stay safe and be kind. Till next week. I love you. Bye.